For what cause, O foremost of those that flourished in the Krita age, hast thou been compelled to leave that region and come hither? Yayati answered, as kinsmen, friends, and relatives forsake in this world those whose wealth disappears, so in the other world the celestials with Indra as their chief forsake him who hath lost his righteousness. Ashtaka said, I am extremely anxious to know how in the other world men can lose virtue. Tell me also, O king, what regions are attainable by what courses of action thou art acquainted. I know with the acts and sayings of great beings. Yayati answered, O pious one, they that speak of their own merits are doomed to suffer the hell called Bhuma. Though really emaciated and lean, they appear to grow on earth in the shape of their sons and grandsons, only to become food for vultures, dogs, and jackals. Therefore, O king, this highly censurable and wicked vice should be repressed. I have now, O king, told thee all. Tell me what more I shall say. Ashtaka said, when life is destroyed with age, vultures, peacocks, insects, and worms eat up the human body. Where doth man then reside? How doth he also come back to life? I never heard of any hell called Bhoma on earth. Yayati answered, after the dissolution of the body, man according to his acts re-entered the womb of his mother and stayed there in an indistinct form, and soon after assuming a distinct and visible shape reappeared in the world and walked on its surface. This is that earth hell, Bhoma, where he falleth, for he behold not the termination of his existence, and act not towards his emancipation. Some dwell for 60,000 years, some for 80,000 years in heaven, and then they fall. And as they fall, they are attacked by certain Rakshasas beholding to the world in the form of sons, grandsons, and other relatives that withdraw their hearts from acting for their own emancipation. Ashtaka asked, for what sins are beings when they fall from heaven, attacked by these fierce and sharp-toothed Rakshasas? Why are they not reduced to annihilation? How do they again enter the womb, furnished with senses? Yayati answered, after falling from heaven, the being becometh a subtle substance living in water. This water becometh the semen, whence is the seed of vitality. Thence entering the mother's womb in the womanly season, it developed into the embryo, and next into visible life, like the fruit from the flower, entering trees, plants, and other vegetable substances, water, air, earth, and space. That same watery seed of life assumed the quadrupedal or bipedal form. This is the case with all creatures that you see. Ashtaka said, Oh, tell me, I ask thee, because I have my doubts. Doth a being that have received a human form enter the womb in its own shape or in some other? How doth it also acquire its distinct and visible shape, eyes and ears and consciousness as well? Questioned by me, O explain it all. Thou art, O Father, one acquainted with the acts and saying of great beings. Yayati answered, according to the merits of one's acts, the being that in a subtle form coheres in the seed that is dropped into the womb is attracted by the atmospheric force for purposes of rebirth. It then developed there in course of time. First time it becomes the embryo and is next provided with a visible physical organism. Coming out of the womb in due course of time, it becometh conscious of its existence as man, and with his ears becometh sensible of sound, with his eyes of color and form, with his nose of scent, with his tongue of taste, by his whole body of touch, and by his mind of ideas. It is thus, O Ashtaka, that the gross and the visible body developed from the subtle essence. Ashtaka asked, after death, the body is burnt, buried, or otherwise destroyed, reduced to nothing upon such dissolution. By what principle is one revived? Yayati said, O lion among kings, the person that dies assumes a subtle form, and retaining consciousness of all his acts in a dream, he entered some other form with a speed quicker than that of air itself. The virtuous attain to a superior and the vicious to an inferior form of existence. The vicious become worms and insects. I have nothing more to say. O thou of great and pure soul, I have told thee how beings are born, after development of embryonic forms, as four-footed, six-footed creatures. What more wilt thou ask me? Ashtaka said. How, O Father, do men attain to those superior regions whence there is no return to earthly life? Is it by asceticism or by knowledge? How also can one gradually attain to felicitous regions? Asked by me, O answer it in full. Yayati answered, the wise say that for men there are 7 gates through which admission may be gained into heaven. There are asceticism, benevolence, tranquility of mind, self-command, modesty, simplicity, and kindness to all creatures. The wise also say that a person loses all these in consequence of vanity. That man who, having acquired knowledge, regards himself as learned, and with his learning destroyed the reputation of other, never attained to regions of indestructible felicity. That knowledge also doth not make its possessor competent to attain to Brahma. Study taciturnity, worship before fire and sacrifices. These 4 remove all fear. When, however, these are mixed with vanity, instead of removing it, they cause fear. The wise should never exult at receiving honors, nor should they grieve at insults, for it is the wise alone that honor the wise. The wicked never act like the virtuous. I have given away so much, I have performed so many sacrifices, I have studied so much, I have observed these vows. Such vanity is the root of fear. Therefore, thou must not indulge in such feelings. Those learned men who accept as their support the unchangeable, inconceivable Brahma alone, that ever showereth blessings on the persons virtuous like thee, enjoy perfect peace year and year after. Thus ends the 90th section in the Sambhava Parva of the Adi Parva.